You're listening to KZOM Radio presents How Would You Survive a Zombie Outbreak? I'm your host Jarbo, and with me today is Jason from Phoenix, Arizona. In the event of an outbreak in Phoenix, you would...
There's an armory a mile away from my house.
Okay, so there's an...
It's on the other side of the armory.
Now, is the armory... Is it
It's an absolute kick-ass U.S. Army armory where they've got helicopters, tanks, Humvees, bullets... rock and roll.
Okay, so you would definitely just make your way for the armory.
Oh, definitely. First thing I'd get.
First thing you get. Okay, now but when you got to the armory, like, what would you take? Would you take, like a tank?
Shotgun.
Just shotgun?
No. First thing I'd grab would be a freaking shotgun, and lots and lots of shells because, lack of a better word, I've shot someone before.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
and
you kind of know what it's like then.
Yeah, I do. So, knocking someone down with pellets is it doesn't matter if you're a zombie or not. You're going down.
Yeah, you're gonna injure him. Now my question is, okay, so you get shotgun. Would you take like any machine guns or carbines or pistols, or just like your basic scatter gun, more or less?
No. A shotgun, handguns, ready-eat meals, RMEs. You know. Let's see here. Definitely chlorine tablets to sanitize the water. You've got some fabulous Kevlar that goes from the top of your head to your feet.
Okay, so you're talking like full body armor.
Full body
armor.
armor.
That's cool. Now, but like once you got all that, would you stay on the base, or would you want to like get out of the city?
I've got a wife and 2 kids.
Oh.
They would definitely be with me.
Totally. Okay, so you have family to take with you. Okay, that changes the
I do.
That changes the equation completely because you have a family.
Right, and the perimeter around the the base is surrounded by razor wire, and I would chain the gates, and I would just kind of hang out for a while to see, what happened.
Makes sense. But what if there were other people there? Would you want to be alone, or would you want to try to gather survivors and keep everybody safe? Because you've seen in movies that usually that can be good for a little bit, and then the bigger you get, the more likely you are to have someone screw up and then have someone end up, letting them in.
Well, lack of a better word, I would grab all the geeks.
That's a good way to do it.
Because in Chandler, we're right next door to Intel. Intel, we make microchips here.
Oh.
So, if a geek ran up with his pocket protector, he's like, "Let me in." I'm like, "Come on in." But if some little gangbanger came up, with all of his little gang tattoos, I'd be like, "Nope, sorry, dude. You're lunch."
Yeah. Yeah.
There's this different level of psychology there.
I agree. So, okay, that's an interesting thought. I never thought of it like that. Taking the geeks because, well, the geeks are they're easy to work with, and
they're easy to work with,
and they know a lot.
They would figure everything out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one of them's got a GPS laptop with them.
More or less. But if
they'd be able to hack into a satellite. The armory has a gate that goes right to the airport. I know one of them would know how to figure out how to fly a plane.
Or there might be books on how to do it, or if the internet was still available.
Exactly.
That's actually a pretty good plan. But if you had to leave, if you had to flee the city, because it's Phoenix, so you're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
You're in a valley.
Yeah,
basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never.
And there's only two ways out. You're either going through Flagstaff or you're going through Tucson. That's it.
Really? No, but how many people are in Phoenix?
Holy shit. 6.5 million.
6.5 million. So you might have a bit of a problem on your hands if they, I guess, more or less
That's what I was
consent.
going to say. I would hang out for a while. I would hang out for a while, hang out for a few weeks. Because the first 2 weeks, it's going to be hell.
Yeah, true.
But I could hang out for a month. And I'm top of an armory. I've got binoculars. I can see what's going on. They've even got two. They've got two of those drones over there that I've driven by. You know, the kind that go around and look all over the city.
Oh, you mean like the unarmed aerial vehicles, the UAVs?
Yeah, they've got a few of those sitting out there.
I didn't know that. So that would definitely help give you recon ability and let you know. So pretty much, based off what you've told me so far, you would be really set if you were living. Yeah, I mean, if there's an actual outbreak in Phoenix, because you would just be able to get to a place and hang out for a while. Right. But would you ultimately want to settle there? Like, let's say like the world government didn't come back, you know, or you lost contact with everybody for quite some time. And you know, food supplies are running low, but you could at least get to the airport and get out. You know, like where would you go, and why would you go there?
I'd grab a Gulf Stream, and I'd probably head for Assateague Island.
Where's that? No.
Which is an island off of Virginia Beach.
It's pretty remote.
They have extremely high tides. And there's another island that the United States used to do biological testing on, and there are no bridges there. But you can only get there from Assateague Island.
Okay, so Assateague is a jumping point to this other place.
Right, but I mean, it's not a destination because hurricanes, you know, they're bad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, they pretty much, they'll kill you. I'd have to stay put for a while. You know, I mean, let's see here. If I'm with all the geeks, you know, one of them's got to know shortwave. You know, they're shortwave radios. You find out who's surviving, where they're surviving. You know, maybe wait until it hits, you know, the middle of winter, and then fly into like Pennsylvania or fly into Buffalo or New York, somewhere where it's like horribly cold.
So yeah, because you know, once the body freezes, and then you don't have anything to worry about until summertime, until they thaw out.
Right, and by that time, you know, the flies would be, you know, pretty much munching away.
Well, but there'd still always be that threat. That's the interesting thing. So basically, you'd have to kind of like, you'd have to be like an old person, you know, have your summer home and have your winter home. Exactly. You know, if you can go to the island and survive for like spring, summer, and fall, then the island, and then go back to Buffalo or somewhere in the Northeast where it's just, you know, ass cold, that could work out.
I mean, that could be your only saving grace.
Right. You'd have to basically either live completely in the cold or completely isolated to really survive in that section. That's pretty cool. So that's a pretty good plan. See, I actually like never even thought of like hitting up a military base, just because I figured I also figured everybody would be there, you know, or an armory. I figured other people would know about that, but if you could get there first, you know, you kind of own it.
Oh yeah, you know, and if I have to shoot, you know, some of the gangbangers before they come in, you know, so be it. You know, but if I see some intel engineers like, hey, you know, we can help you fly that plane, come on in.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's
you know, that's the thing about, you know, in Dawn of the Dead, there were no really, really smart people in that group.
Yeah, are you talking the 1978 version or the 2004?
The 2004.
Oh yeah. Well, they were kind of smart, but they just kind of got lazy.
They were smart in the conventional sense.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Like they could weld and they knew where to get gasoline, but they were eating up their food like crazy. You know. Yeah, they weren't rationing. And they were relaxing. They weren't rationing. And, and the guy that owned the ammo store that they could see, you know, I mean, he was screwed and then some, you know?
Yeah.
It was just a matter of
total matter of time before Andy died. But it made for a good plot device in the movie, definitely. Well, thank you very much, Jason, but that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank everyone for listening and tuning in. You can join us next week as we have another caller give us their interpretation of how they would survive a zombie outbreak. For Jarbo at KZOM Radio, have a good night.